no understating that there is a serious situation there that is also now crossing over to affect of Isiolo. We learned yesterday that 3 people had been killed. They were actually being buried yesterday, and the residents of Isiolo suspect that these are people that may have run away from neighboring Samburu County. So that operation continues. No guns, no ammunition was recovered from the 3-day amnesty, but the operation continues. Now to another story, that is what happened yesterday. Deputy President Gov't was somewhere in Kericho County, and he said something about who is in government, that government is a company of shareholders. Listen to him.
Ni kampuni na ni ya shares, si ndio? Ni ya shares. Kuna wenye kampuni, wale wako na shares mingi, kuna wale wako na chache, kuna wale hawana. Sasa nyinyi mliinvest kwa hii kampuni ya William Ruto na Rigathi Gachagua. Sasa lazima mvune. Yule ambaye alipanda atafanya nini? Si mlipanda? Si mliamuka mapema? Mukasema hamtaki kusikia mambo ya ile system na nini? Mukainvest, mukapanda, mukapalilia, mukaweka mbolea, mukamwagilia maji, wakati ya kuvuna ndio huu. Ati wale walipanda wavune kwanza. Iko makosa? Iko makosa? Hata hao watavuna, lakini wangoje. Si wale walipanda na wavune kwanza. Wakishavuna wavune, ile tabaki kidogo, wale wakupanda waingie, watafute huko nini, ile itapatikana wachukue, wakwende. Si iko namna hiyo? Na itakuwa namna hiyo. Hii kura iko na maana. Nyinyi hamwezi piga kelele huko, mpige kelele. Mnasema William Ruto ni bure, hawezi, mnaita yeye majina. Alafu akipata, akigawa, mnapiga laini atimuko pale mbele. Ati mnataka mpite wale walisema anafaa atimukue pale mbele. Inawezekana? Mimi kazi yangu pale kwa ikulu ni hiyo. Ni kupanga hiyo laini. Hapo ni kazi mimi napanga hapo. Mimi naangalia kwa laini, nikiona wewe ulipanda, natoa wewe nyuma, napeleka wewe mbele. Nikiona wewe hukupanda na kutoa na kurudisha nyuma, ufanye nini? Niendelee na hiyo kazi ama niwache?
Okay, now where do we start? Because is he speaking too much truth of what happens, or he's just being a politician?
I completely agree with him. It basically brings back the argument that my colleagues, the ones who went to see the president, especially the ones from Luo Nyanza, they now know the truth. You're wasting your time going to visit the president and talking to him and begging him for stuff. The deputy president has just said it. Look, there, and by the way, Speaker, this is what democracy is about. There is ability for one to participate in an exercise where you support one side or you support a certain candidate. Once that candidate wins, I think commonsensically, let's allow that the ones who are supporting that candidate get first preference. But the Constitution, again, puts Honorable Gachagua in a very difficult place, because when he was swearing in, there's nowhere where that swearing in says that now we will first give services to the people who voted for us, and then the ones who didn't vote for us, they can wait on the line. He says we'll serve all Kenyans equally. But the reality and the politics on the ground, and Speaker Shole, I agree with Gachagua and even the president. If they decide not to talk to people like us who are in the opposition, and they decide to give services to only the areas that voted for him, or appoint senior officials of government, whether they are CASs, whether they are like in Kisii, we only got one permanent secretary. I completely agree with William Ruto and Mr. Gachagua. Let them reward their people. Because democracy, after all, is about rewarding your people. If you feel those people who are not with you don't mean anything in the future, dismiss them.
But what happens to competence and competitive recruitment?
Recruitment for?
What happens to competence?
But you can recruit a competent person from Kisii if he was in UDA. They are there. If he decides not to recruit them, that's up to him.
Senator Manzo, what do you make of this?
First of all, Deputy President Gachagua is very honest. They are running a company, but not a government. So, you know, the Constitution requires that the moment you win the election, unfortunately, a lot of Kenyans still hold that they never won the election. When you win election, you embrace everybody. You see, in Makueni, whoever elected me and did not elect me doesn't matter. I give services to everybody equally. And now we are heading to a situation whereby you want to tribalize the country, although what they say in their mouths is not what is in their heart. You say Kenya is free for everybody, but from what he say Kenya is for two tribes, the Central and the Rift Valley. Anybody else doesn't matter. He's talking from Rift Valley and he's from Central. And there's a lot of Kenyans.
But I thought the president got a lot of votes from across the country, not just those two areas. Yeah,
but those two areas were the main areas, and anybody who has majority or controls those two areas is likely to rule the country. That's what has been happening from history and the tribalization of the country. So we must really detribalize the country for real. So if you are running a company and not a government, then he is very honest. And he's telling us what exactly they did. And now Kenyans should be aware what sort of rulers we have, because we have rulers now. They are the ones running the economy. They are the ones running everything. They are the ones sharing the jobs. I believe every Kenyan should be given an equal opportunity. The Constitution requires that the president and his deputy work very much to unite the people. We would not necessarily go into handshakes, but everybody should feel that, you know, when President Kibaki was president, even the opposition were at ease. Everybody felt that they were not going to be mistreated, that they'll get their fair share and they'll be listened to. Unfortunately, my very good friend, the Deputy President Gachagua, he saying that we are a company. And if your shares are small, you wait at the back. With the people with the big shares, they are the ones who benefit. I think that is really wrong.
Okay.
It's unconstitutional. We need to embrace everybody, create good spirit. And it's also against the spirit of the prayers. You see, the Bible clearly says not everybody who says, Lord, Lord, will make it to the kingdom of heaven. But those who embrace everyone, loves God and embraces everyone. He's already telling us we are not going to embrace everyone.
Deputy Speaker, when you hear the Deputy President says that mimi naangalia kwa laini nikiona wewe ulipanda na kutoa kwa laini na kupeleka mbele, kama haukupanda na kurudisha nyuma, in the context of fair opportunity, whether it's in terms of employment, whether it's in terms of government tenders and contracts, how does this sit in that context? Because people are free to choose whom they want to vote for in an election, but after that they're still Kenyans.
You know, Sam, one of the things I have tried, and I think I've succeeded so far, is that when I come on television, I refuse to have you run a statement by someone and then allow us to dream and speculate as to what the person meant.
No, you hear him.
No,
you can hear what he's saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. And also, things are said in context. So because I am not privy to the context in which he was saying this, what I can only read is that he's talking about rewarding loyalty, and that loyalty is ranked high. That is the reality everywhere. But as to the details of what he meant, I never heard him talk about state jobs. I didn't hear him say about recruitment. I didn't say all those things that I'm hearing here now has been added onto his sentence. So to pick, if you look flatly what he was saying, he was just talking about loyalty. As to the details now about the Constitution, he didn't go there. No. The recruitment, he didn't attempt to amend the recruitment process.
Utavuna, nini ninavuna kwa serikali?
Okay, you tell me what you think that...
No, it's not what I think. I'm asking you.
Yes, and I refuse
to... You come from Kenya Kwanza.
I'm not falling in for the speculation. And he was not speaking saying on behalf of Kenya Kwanza, this is our position that we are going to amend the laws. He was speaking to loyalty, and he was speaking to people who had campaigned.
The Deputy President is saying that kazi yangu ni kukaa pale State House kuensure wale ambao wako kwa laini kama ulipanda na kupeleka mbele. So he's not just speaking from the...
So you want me to draw meaning from...
No, I'm saying, you're saying that he was not speaking for Kenya Kwanza. This is the Deputy President saying what he will do at State House. We know what happens at State House. That's the office of the President.
And he was speaking in Kiswahili and in jest. So I'm not going to start giving technical meaning and interpret to what he's saying. Let me allow the speculators here to do that, because I don't do that.
Sami, let us help the Deputy Speaker, Madam Srele.
I don't need help. You speak for yourself.
No, let us...
No, I've never needed help.
No, not like that.
I never need help.
Let's hear from the Senator.
We'll help you.
No, I don't.
Our country right now, and some of us have been saying this over and over again, This country needs healing. This country needs leadership that is willing to bend backwards to accommodate the country. President William Ruto, Madam Sholei, got 230,000 votes. Raila had 268,000 votes. The difference of about 30,000 votes.
From which?
From
figures are those?
The elections.
The plus one was 65,000 thereabouts, and the margin was 223,000 thereabouts. I know that for a fact. So I don't know where you're getting your figures.
No, wait.
You're saying
million or
from where?
What I am saying, the total, the number of votes that President William Ruto was voted for in Kisii.
Okay.
In Kisii.
That's what I said.
In Kisii.
Oh, you're talking about
You see, she doesn't even want to listen to me.
No, you didn't mention Kisii.
I did.
Okay, now
the total number of votes that the president got in Kisii was huge. The community in Kisii voted for him legitimately. They love the guy, they appreciate him. There's a team that has worked for him for the last 3 years. They worked 24 hours. Now, when the president comes in and he's setting up his government, after he has gotten that number of votes from the members of the Kisii community, should he expect these people to go and bend with him, begging him for favors? No. It is commonsensical that there are certain people who worked tirelessly because they loved Kenya Kwanza, they have delivered the vote, and these people don't have to beg the president. All right, in terms of the distribution of these positions, Madam Sholei is saying that now, in fact, as far as she's concerned, Gachagua, Deputy President, was not talking about the number of jobs, he's not talking about the distribution of favors, and that is not true. What he's talking about is those are the exact favors. Those exact favors, we know them as members of the National Assembly, loyalty, as members of loyalty. Loyalty is a factor, yes. But there are times when you decide that this country is bigger than the loyalty you got as a leader, and you are going to pick people from Kwale, you'll pick guys from Malindi, you'll pick some from Kisii, you go South Nyanza, you go to Homa Bay, you go to Vihiga, you go to Trans Nzoia. Kenya must be a country that we love most, and we are willing to accommodate people. There are people in UDA. There are people who are in UDA in Kisii. There are people in Kakamega in UDA. There are people in Kwale in UDA. The president, all he needs to do is balance out and distribute all these positions equitably and fairly, according to what the Constitution says, taking into consideration the issue of inclusivity. But what is happening now is very simple. It looks like the president and his team have decided to do what Gachagua is saying. So. And I am agreeing with Gachagua. I am saying, my deputy president, please, if you can employ only the Kikuyu community and the Kalenjin community, please proceed. Okay. The Constitution allows you to do that. But if you want a country that is going to be harmonious, that is going to see itself as a face of Kenya, a country that is going to have a representation, I'll give you an example. The president chose his CECs, his ministers, wonderfully. We have no issue with that.
The ministers represent Kenya. That's where I want to go. Look at the ministers.
Allow me. Defend me, Gituku.
Senator, finish.
You've heard me tell you, the choice of cabinet members is okay. We have no problem with this cabinet. What happened to his permanent secretary? What is happening to the CISs? Why is it that on the list of this country of ours, when people are getting jobs, you look at 2 communities that are taking the majority, then the rest remain with only 5 or 2%. That is what we are talking about. Let's change that narrative. I want President William Ruto to be seen as a president of the Kisii without any inhibition. Right now, it looks like this thing is being shared between 2 communities.
Deputy Speaker.
I think, like I said, that's why I end up not getting involved in the speculation debate, because when someone speculates, there's no end to speculation, which means you can create any story you want and make it look like it's the truth. I'm clear. If you look, as I said, is that was a speech in jest. Look at actually the action. If you look at the ministers, we have ministers from Luo Nyanza, we have ministers from Kisii Nyanza, we have ministers from Kilifi, we have a speaker from Kilifi County, we have from Mombasa, we have from everywhere, we have from Kwale, every part of Kenya.
I've already congratulated you on that one. Now you are repeating the obvious.
The most powerful peers is Dr. Raymond Omolo from Luo Nyanza. Yeah, if William Ruto was rewarding just people who majority voted for him, then that would not be happening. I think it's an extremely balanced government. And I think give credit where it's due. You know, you can criticize, fine, but sometimes be honest about it. It has been very, very deliberate in the way things have been conducted, in the way that the cabinet has been chosen. And we shall continue to see it. You can't talk about the CASs because that has not been published yet, unless you have an advance notice ahead of the rest of us.
Right.
That has not yet happened. And it is also... it is also important to look at the commissions have not been populated. You will see in the recruitments of the various bodies, even already the law requires that we look at the issue of diversity. It has been implemented in the independent commissions. It's been implemented in the judiciary. It has been implemented by all the recruitment bodies within the country. And it's not only the statements of one person. We have inbuilt it in our new constitution. So let's be fair. Let us not try and make it look like something bad is happening where it's not, that there is fire where there is nothing. Let us be honest, because I am seeing the trajectory that is happening with our current the political class at the moment is that if you can criticize and only see bad, then you're a good politician.
Okay,
Surely,
Sami,
there is some credit in saying something nice.
I said
and even when he says,
I told Madam Speaker, I've given you credit for the way the president chose his cabinet. But I've already told you.
Be a gentleman.
I've already given you credit.
Be a gentleman. No, but that credit is being given in a sarcastic form.
No.
By the way, I am an extremely intelligent woman.
No.
When you say something, I don't listen to what you're saying. I listen to what you're not saying.
Okay.
So you're being sarcastic, and I can read it.
No, you will not go there.
Yes.
There's a lot of interpretation here.
So don't think
protect me, Sami. You are not protecting
don't
me.
Be sarcastic and help the legislature to get away with it. Go try with someone
the cabinet
else.
was chosen well.
Senator, I have just less than a minute for Senator Manzo, but first to take a look at the
I'm too clever for you, Senator.
Really?
Just give him.
The feedback
I know what you're thinking behind that head.
You know what Achebe says when let me not use the statement. Don't praise yourself. Let other people praise you.
No. I learned that a long time ago. My father taught me that no one is going to give you credit. If you know you've done something good and you know you're something, say it. I'm not going to wait for you to say it. You won't.
We have given you credit.
That's why you're making fun of me by being sarcastic here. So I have to tell you I'm cleverer than that.
Imagine that's what
to look at the that has come to us at Citizen TV Kenya at Sam Gituku. The hashtag to use is daybreak. Maganga Mustafa, you're saying that we need a complete new IBC up to constituency level so that electoral mechanics are removed. They are responsible for influencing who wins, especially MP and MCA, through a wide experience of importing confusion. Okay. Okay, Mwalimu, I totally agree with Daniel Manzo when he says all IBC selection panel appointees are political affiliations, even though the law is clear, as asserted by Shule, political loyalty reigns supreme in public appointments, followed by ethnicity. Maura, I agree with the Honorable Shule. The two, Onyonka and Manzo, should vacate their seats in the election if the election was skewed. Onyonka to say there was no transmission in the grassroots. Constituency tallying centers had all results on screens. Babu Michael, there's no sense to try and make changes to a process you know the outcome. Why do you think the Kenya Kwanza government is looking for a supermajority? What any Kenyan of goodwill can do is just sit and watch. All those independent institutions are compromised. Remy Butia, there are horror stories emerging from the ground in the North Badlands. A permanent military base must be established in the region. It's not the first time KDF are being deployed. KDF were deployed to Kapedo in 2014. Rev Hari, you're saying that the bandits in this region had let the KDF do its work once and for all to save more lives, livestock, etc. Please let politicians not politicize this. God bless. God keep Kenya. Then Kiswi Philip, you're saying that the reason parliamentary approval must be sought before deployment of the army is to prevent a scenario where our army will be deployed for political purposes or be misused to deliver personal and selfish interests. And then it's not an isolated case for a government in place to consider key players who helped it clinch power, but that shouldn't target voters in profiled regions. It ends with appointees in government. Senator Manzo, your closing remark. You've been quiet.
Yes, You know, we want to build a strong nation, and part of building a strong nation is appreciating that we have majority and minority. In fact, the new constitution of 2010 is that parliament is part of government. That's why it has minority and majority. It doesn't mean majority becomes government and the minority becomes opposition. But again, also, government needs checks and balances, and that's why we have to have a strong opposition. Although opposition is not the word used in the constitution, we have to have a strong opposition to make sure that the government running is correct and to correct any things which may go wrong. Really, the deputy president, and I have a lot of respect for him, and he's a friend of mine who was in parliament with him. You really have to be careful what you say to the nation, because your speech may end up rubbishing whatever is the whole principle of Kenya Kwanza, or whatever is expectations of Kenyans. We look forward to a united Kenya, and we want everybody to feel that whatever the input is being considered. The issue of IBC is very sensitive. Right. I want to urge President Ruto to look at it and know that there are stakeholders. The stakeholder in this particular matter can be through political parties. It is always good to consider so that you are not perceived. You know how people see it. You see the perception created that you want everything for yourself. Everyone wants to feel that the election is free and fair. Okay. Yes. All right. And I want to thank you all.
I'm getting a last.
I was allowing him because he had been quiet for some time as you are going at it with Senator Onyonka. Thank you so much, Senator Richard Onyonka, Deputy Speaker Gladys Boss, and Senator Daniel Manzo for making time for us to have this conversation. My name is Sam Gituku. See you again tomorrow at the same time here on Debate. Bye now.